I'm going to be giving away 2 $50 Steam gift cards. Stick around to find out how to win one.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the back, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like.
Hey guys, so I saw you took out the Bugatti to take to the moon today. Yeah, bad news. So they pulled our funding. I'm gonna need you guys to just go down to Jeb's house and just grab what you can find, please. Please put the Bugatti back. We don't have enough money for this.
Alright, here we are, back on the launch pad, headed toward the moon today. I figured we did Minimus last time, we might as well do the moon. After starting this, I googled how big the moon was, and it's about 1,200,000 meters, roughly 628 kilometers from the North to the South Pole is what we're undertaking today. We have been tasked to do it with a motorcycle. We learned in one of our previous videos motorcycles are garbage in Kerbal Space Program, so this motorcycle is equipped with some special training wheels for our pilots. We have Roland and Sherlong Kerman on the motorcycle and Roster Kerman in the return ship. So here you see us landing on the moon. We have our motorcycle on the bottom there. This thing is equipped to lower the motorcycle down, drop it down, well sorry, spin it and then drop it down. So here we go, getting Sherlong down and Roland down, ready to go. Roland is the one driving for the first leg of this trip. So we've touched down, and we have that docking port on the back there. We can pull on in just to hide it away and make it look like more like a motorcycle. This ship is going to the South Pole, and that is going to be our target ship, so we're going to target it, that way we know where the South Pole is, and also, once we get there, it will be able to send us home. We don't have to get another ship, in theory. So there we go, you see them both at the North and South Pole, and we are starting our journey. The 180-degree heading is where we were going for no reason other than it sounded like a good number at the time. Here we try to do a cool, sick trick, and that backfires. It's not as easy to drive on as Minimus. It's quite difficult, especially in this motorcycle. It's probably a lot easier if you have a proper vehicle for the job, but you know what? We did it, is all I can say. Here asking the tough questions. Can motorcycles drive across the moon? Yeah, they can. Just not very well. And you need training wheels. So we're getting our astronauts, our Kermanauts, back onto the motorcycle. This is a very frequent occurrence. Feel free to count how many times you can see our astronauts fall off the motorcycle, because I lost track. So we're keeping on. We have our engines there, which surprisingly, I think could have probably gotten us into orbit if we wanted to. They're not very powerful, but they're very steady. Like, you very slowly gain speed, and it's just enough to keep on going. There's a few times where I accidentally hit the button, or I forgot I hit the button to throttle up, and then I look and I'm going 70 meters a second, and I'm like, oh dang. Because anything over 40 was kind of a death sentence, to be honest. You saw us lose a part there. We lose parts, so we lost a brake light, and we also lost, I believe at this point, one of our fuel lines, which really isn't that big of a deal. I just had to manually transfer the fuel from the front tanks to the back tanks occasionally. Not that big of a deal. We also lost our docking port at one point, somehow, even though it's tucked away inside. But yeah, things happen. We crash a lot. There goes our back wheels, and unfortunately also our engines were tied to the back wheels, so now we have no engines. I didn't quite know what to do. I quick saved when they hit the ground because I didn't realize we lost the engines, so I had no way out of this. So we just tried our very little bests. It was a pain in the butt getting out of this like impact crater, but we do manage. A lot of zigzagging, a lot of having to go back down the mountain to get speed, to get back up the mountain. A whole lot of shenanigans, but eventually we kind of creep along the side there. We hit that rock, and then we go around the rock, and we just about manage to get to the side of this and back down the other side, and then we keep on going. This thing, I think top speed was about 20 meters a second without those engines. There's our bike destroyed. We sent it a little too hot, and you know, we had to face the consequences. So I have a major announcement. For starters, I want to personally thank each and every one of you for watching my videos. I wouldn't be here without you. That being said, I want to give back a little and include as many of you as I can in a future video. Starting today, I'll be hosting a contest for a chance to win a $50 Steam gift card. But how do I win this gift card, Sid? AKA my favorite Kerbal YouTuber. Well, first, thank you for the kind words. And second, all you have to do is like the video and subscribe to my channel so you see more of my future videos and future giveaways. If this goes well, we'll do more in the future, and the challenge is to build a car slash truck slash bike, whatever you can, as long as it is a ground vehicle, and build them in Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to put together a March Madness style challenge where I'm going to put them all to the test. They're all going to be tested on maneuverability, ground speed, and most importantly, looks. And also creativity. But what if I don't have Kerbal Space Program, you ask? More about that in a moment. To submit your craft for the challenge, you have to upload it to KerbalX, and then send your link to the download to my email at sidspooki@gmail.com. Inside your email, please include some details like the name of the vehicle, some little info that I'll need to drive it, anything you think that I need, and also send me your Steam name so if you win, I know who to send the card to. For those of you that don't have KSP and still want in on the fun, I'd like for you to submit a screenshot of your favorite game. It can be something you made, a glitch you found, anything in between, just a cool screenshot. Submit it to my subreddit r/SidSpooky, and while you're there, take a moment to look at the submissions, like them, because the winner will be decided by you guys. The top most rated picture at the end of the month will be the winner, and that person will also receive a $50 Steam gift card. The contest will run from the day you're seeing this video all the way up until September 30th, 2022. Then during the month of October, I will do a video rating the submissions and putting them against each other in a battle. The The winner, other than winning their sweet Steam gift card, will also have their vehicle drive across Elu for that video. The contest is ran by myself. It's not affiliated with Steam, YouTube, or KSP, and you'll be notified by me through your email or on Reddit. So only if you get an email from @sidspooky@gmail.com or on Reddit sid/spooky will you know that you actually won. Don't trust anyone else. Good luck and have fun. I look forward to what you guys come up with. So we're launching off again, this time with a spare motorcycle in tow. This is a unmanned craft. No one came with, no one was brave enough to join. This craft has a spare motorcycle. We're complete with engines and everything, so we'll have engines and fuel and don't have to worry about all that again. But we landed quite far off from where our Kerbals were, so we just autopilot this thing over, which is fine. It has autopilot. We probably should have done that rather than risking Kerbals' lives, but you know, hindsight's 2020. But it's okay. We lose a few parts on the way. We lose like our nose cone, I believe a brake light, but I mean you don't really need those. There's no traffic here, and there's also no atmosphere for the nose cone to even make a difference. If anything, we're just getting rid of weight, so we're a little bit lighter and we get carried a little farther with our engines. Slowly making our way over there. It was a little rough driving this thing, as you can see. The first couple minutes I didn't have MechJeb installed. I ended up backing out and installing MechJeb so I could use the Smart ASS to kind of keep me from falling over so much, which did help with the times where we would flip and lose our Kerbals and stuff. So it kept them upright a little bit easier. Not always, we still had problems. It wasn't perfect, but it certainly helped. I say that as I just watch me crash and then revert. Our new motorcycle, and we are carefully scaling down this mountain. We had to use our engines as brakes a lot, which I mean was kind of expected. Same thing with Minimus. Used our engines as brakes, and also when we got airborne, unlike Minimus, we didn't really have a problem with how fast we were going when we hit the ground, because you just never could get enough speed. On the moon, you can easily like launch yourself off into a crater and then explode at the bottom. So I had to use my engines a lot to slow my descents. Nothing too bad. We had a lot of crashes. I cut out a lot of reverts. I know I missed a few here and there, so you'll see a few of those during the time lapse, but we had a lot of reverts, like a wild amount. Crashing a lot. It's more like we came to the conclusion in the motorcycle video that motorcycles are not good in Kerbal Space Program, but I really just wanted to test myself to see if I can stick this out, and we did it. I don't know if I feel any better about myself though. So I think if I kept doing this without the engines, I don't think I ever would have made it. You kind of can't get over a lot of the hills. So we had another big crash. They were getting Sherlong back in. And Roland decides she wants to hop onto this thing while in motion. I don't know why, but it was definitely her decision. So she doesn't quite make it, but don't worry. She's persistent. She gets back in the air and flies off toward the motorcycle. Look how happy she is. Very happy to be doing this because it was her decision and not anyone else's decision. It was her decision. I don't even know what to say. Roland, we really appreciate what you did for Sid Spooki's space program. But in the end, you died doing what you loved, risking it all. Rest in peace, Roland. You wanted to do a cool trick, getting on the bike while moving. It was cool. But you died, so it stopped being cool. We'll all remember you for your brave sacrifice, Roland. So after that great disaster, Sherlong looks on the bright side. How could he not, staring directly into the sun? And he takes off back south, or not really south, with 180. 180 is south. He takes off south back towards our escape craft. Unfortunately, yeah, we did lose Roland, but we send off another craft. This one is a refueling craft. We land it a few kilometers away, so we land that, and then we make our way over. .7 kilometers away. Pretty far when we're not quite out of fuel. We're almost out of fuel, but we have just enough to make it. We lost Sherlong, that's fine. He gets back on, drive on over. This is a pretty steep incline to connect to this docking port on the side here. It took a while, but we managed. And this whole thing wanted to slide down the hill, and then for some reason, when I start transferring fuel, it just starts going. The engines weren't on, so I have no idea why, but it just slid down the hill. I didn't really care. It wasn't hurting anything. But we decouple, the rocket in the background falls over. It's fine, we go on back south, and that refueling rocket has enough fuel for one more session. So we're gonna look forward to that. In the meantime, we just continue. It's nice having fuel. Like, I couldn't imagine doing this without fuel, just doing this with these wheels. And I think if I had a better vehicle, like if I drove the truck that we've been doing the missions with on this, it probably would have been fine without rockets. But these tiny little wheels just weren't that great. They got some speed, they broke a lot, I think was the problem. And here's a couple of the reverts I missed throughout this time lapse. But I think if we had stronger wheels, we definitely could have suffered, or not suffered, we definitely could have sustained more G-forces and whatnot. This took a lot longer than I thought it would. I don't remember how long Minmus was, but I assumed it wouldn't be much longer than Minmus, but I realized about an hour in how long it would actually take in total. I'm gonna spoil ahead a little bit. It took about 12 hours to drive across the moon. 12 hours of like the Kerbal's time if they were in the truck and they drove it. It took about 12 hours. I think for me, it took about that because even though I did use Time Warp, I launched a lot of rockets out to resupply, plus the extra motorcycle. So I think sitting down here at my computer, I probably played more hours than that. It's probably like 15-16 hours worth of Kerbal to get this mission done, but it was definitely worth it. It was a lot of fun. I took a lot of trial and error and a lot of like actually having to use my brain for some of the crafts, using the cool robotic parts and whatnot to make it safe to transport back and forth the motorcycle and all that. So we ran out of fuel in the motorcycle, so we take off with our refueling rocket. We lose a couple solar panels because of the ground. Nothing we don't like really need, so we're fine. Landing near our buddy as close as I can. We get a pretty close call. I will say, for having MechJeb installed, the only thing I used was that smart ASS. I didn't use any of the the rover autopilot or any of the auto landings or anything like that. I kind of felt cheaty, even though I was already using it to stay upright. I think that was a little too far. There we go, docking up to that, put more fuel in. You'll see it said I had 168 liters left, or whatever the measurement is, in the refueling truck, but I did try to fly it over one last time later, and it didn't have enough fuel to get to it, and then I had enough fuel to land, but I didn't have enough fuel to refuel, so I had to cut that part out because it doesn't help us at all. It lands near us and then nothing, so you won't ever see it. That's why I said it only has enough refuels for 2, and that is all used up now. But Sherlong doesn't care. We lost a few of our fuel lines, so I have to manually transfer fuel around, which isn't too big of a deal, but you will see that pop up now and again. It's a very interesting landscape because some of the craters you could easily get stuck in. So you kind of had to be careful about, or I had to be careful about where I went. So I did avoid it. Some of the places, and you can see there that we are roughly halfway, a little more than halfway to the South Pole. So not bad, making pretty good ground, if you ask me. But here I believe we are almost out of our fuel, about 200 meters a second left. And then as I said, we don't have that refueling vessel anymore, so we're gonna have to think about something to do for that, because we cannot make the other half of this journey with no fuel. That would be awful. So there we go, officially out of fuel. About 2/3 of the way there. So once again, sending out our 3rd rocket, this time with Minor Kerman in tow. She volunteered to join Sherlong on the journey, just in case he needs another engineer. He's an engineer, but you never know. 2 engineers are better than 1 engineer. That's the old saying, right? So I land about a kilometer away from Sherlong, and I get as close as I can with him, but without fuel I can't get all the way to him, so I do have to move the craft closer. No big deal. This also was equipped with 3 docking ports, one to repair the one we lost on the back of the motorcycle, and then I put 2 more on the front But then this is when I tried to fly out that other refueling ship, realized it wouldn't work, and then I improvised. I put a docking port on the bottom of this craft, backed up to it, and took all of its fuel. So this is what got us farther, was using what was left in here. And then Minor Kerman jumps on to the motorcycle, ready to go. This time Sherlong is still driving. It was not Sherlong who was driving. Actually, it was Sherlong who was driving when Roland died. Never mind. So it was really nice. So the North Pole and the South Pole was really rough terrain, very hilly. But once you got into like the main body of the moon, it wasn't too bad, other than craters. I think if you drove around craters, it would be it'd take a lot longer, but it'd probably be a lot easier, and you could probably use less fuel and not use fuel at all if you did it that way. But it was, I kind of enjoyed going through the craters because it got me time to do, like, I don't know, just fun stuff. Going up the hills with the engines is always fun, and then flying out the other side, getting big jumps was a lot of fun. That's why you don't see me go around as many, and I more or less try to do it in a straight line, not for any particular reason. But as you can see on the horizon, I guess, is the marker for our return vessel, so that means we're almost there, less than 100 kilometers away. We're running out of fuel very quickly. Not quite enough to get us to where we need to go, about 73 kilometers left. And we're going through fuel quick. So now we're officially out of fuel. I think we're about 70 kilometers away-ish. Oh, 60 kilometers away. And I was doing this without fuel. Determined to use no fuel for the last leg of this, but it was a little bit of a struggle. And for some reason this happened. We just glitched. I had to use the cheat menu to stop me from rotating, and I didn't do anything else. All I did was put myself exactly in the same spot, just not spinning. But we lost our training wheels, so another wrench thrown into the ring, I guess. No training wheels, no fuel, but we're so close. We're 50 kilometers away. So I have this bright idea. I'm gonna take off one of these fuel tanks and put it in my inventory and fly one of these Kerbals to the refueling ship and then fly them back. But as you can see here, I put the fuel tank in Sherlong's inventory and then flew Minor to the refueling ship. I had no idea at this point what I had put myself through. But yeah, that fuel tank did not leave with Minor, so unbeknownst to myself, I put this poor girl through some torture for nothing. I don't know how she didn't die here, because she bonks her little legs so hard. But she seems fine. She's resilient. Much more resilient than Roland. So I landed about 6 kilometers away, and I spent 2 hours of my life walking this Kerbal to this ship, thinking that when I get there, I'm going to refuel this tank. I'm going to take an EVA pack from the other Kerbal and fly back to the motorcycle, doing this wild challenge. But right about here is where I realized that it didn't happen. You see me rage a little bit, but I decide I'm just going to have to drive it. So I continue back in the motorcycle, no engines, no fuel. I get stuck in a few craters, having to, like, I don't know, go from one side to the other and, like, swing back and forth, gaining momentum each time, like a half pipe with a skateboard, until eventually I went over the top. So I try to avoid going in as many craters as I could. I think I only went through 1 or 2. The rest I went around. So it is possible to do. It just makes your trip take a few hours longer, I think. But we manage to about 20 kilometers away. We have been driving for a literal month at this point, with all the launches and waiting for resupplies and refuels. This bike is the new bike, and it's been here for 2 weeks. Just to put it in perspective, I'm pretty sure it's at this point been about a month. Here you can see us doing that skateboard thing where I have to half pipe my way out. And you'll see me like tip over and lay on my side. That is me saving, because I didn't have the training wheels to stop me all the way. But here we are approaching the return craft. Connecting up, putting the motorcycle back into position, and then realizing that we don't have enough fuel to get back home. But regardless, we get Sherlong into the cockpit with Miner and Roster Kerman. And for another time this episode, we send out another rocket. Another refueling ship for our journey back home. Make our way to the moon, get ourselves on a solar capture, whatever, not even a capture, a solar descent. It's got these cool claws on it that I just kind of flail around until I connect. Fill our fuel, and disconnect from that guy. Just spending all of our tax dollars and taking off back toward home. You can see it's been 43 days since we originally took off from Kerbin. So a month and a half these brave Kerbals have spent for the betterment of Kerbal kind, knowing if you could drive a motorcycle across the moon. Very important questions. Then we run out of fuel, so I do like I always do, an aero brake 100 times until we finally, delicately make our way through the atmosphere back towards the surface. So I designed this with the heat shield on top, that way there was no risk of the motorcycle burning up. There are parachutes deploy. We slow down and make an ever so gently landing on the surface. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.